believe it was Mark Twain that said, if you give a man a reputation as an early riser, that man can sleep till noon. Elie Wiesel. Most of you have probably heard of him by reading his book Night in junior high, like I had to. I also, after I got out of K through 12, after I graduated high school, I picked up the trilogy of Night, Dawn, and I believe Daybreak. Dawn is where he executes a British officer or British soldier. Elie Wiesel. I know it's heresy to say anything bad about him. It's blasphemy. It's anathema. But here's the problem. He forwards the uniqueness doctrine of the Holocaust, that the Holocaust is unique from all other suffering, that the Holocaust is only the suffering of the Jewish people during World War II. The Gypsies could die in the same manner, in the exact same camp, in the same batches of people who were killed, whether by bullet or gas or whatever. And those Gypsies would not be part of the Holocaust. Their suffering would not be comparable or comparable to the suffering of a Jew in this exact same situation, even probably standing right next to them. He also talked about peace. He talked with Obama about peace and this and that, but then he was for the heavy-handed, brutal actions of the Israeli state against the Palestinian people. Norman Finkelstein talks about this. Norman Finkelstein, whose parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, whose parents survived Buchenwald, exposes some of the garbage about Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel talks about peace, but if Israel does something with a heavy hand, then no. He talks about the horror of the Holocaust and genocide against anybody, but yet the Rwandan genocide, the Armenian genocide, the Ukrainian genocide, and it was the Holodomor, it's not comparable to Jewish suffering. He calls his critics racists and bigots and anti-Semites. That's exactly what he is. And he is in the Holocaust industry. He's famous only because he writes books about the Holocaust, gets rich and powerful off the Holocaust, and thinks he can tell other people what to do, as well as backing the militant state of Israel. The problem with Elie Wiesel is that he's like he tries to play himself like a confessor of the ancient Christians, a living martyr, so that when he speaks, it's like gospel, basically. Yet crash commercialism, claiming that Jewish lives matter more than other lives, that the Holocaust was unique. There have been cases made by other historians saying what the Nazis did wasn't unique at all. They got their techniques from the Soviets, the Holodomor, the other things raged against, actually specifically the Christian church. 9 million people in the Holodomor that were killed through an artificially incited famine and firing squads because they believed in God. It's telling to break their belief in God. See, it was just against the Slavs. It wasn't against the Christian. No, specifically against the heavy mystical belief of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and its people. That the Armenian genocide, which was, they people said Armenian genocide, they described it as the Holocaust. Then in the 1970s, the Jews said, no, it's our Holocaust, and we're going to name it the Jewish Holocaust. And nobody else can call their suffering the Holocaust, even though that for 30 years prior to them using the word, the Armenian genocide was known as the Holocaust. Wiesel is part of and the thing is that you get called a Holocaust denier if you say, I believe the Holocaust occurred. I'm not a denier. I believe it occurred. I just have questions about it. Or I don't think it should be used to be an excuse to ethnically cleanse the Arabs from Palestinian territory. Or if you say, look, everybody admits now that there was no soap made out of Jewish bodies. That was a propaganda from the Second World War, started by the Soviets, made its way over to the Western Allies, and then by the 60s was known to be just false. It never happened. If you say, which the Israeli government recognizes, the soap is not made from Jewish people. If you said there was no soap, Elie Wiesel will say, I don't believe in violence, but if you get attacked, fine. This kid, Eric Hunt, quote unquote, attacked Elie Wiesel. I guess he tried to drag him into a hotel room or whatever. Where does that feeling come from? Was he just a Nazi and a bigot and a racist and a Holocaust denier? I don't know Eric Hunt. I actually know nothing about him but his name. But I was shocked. Oh, Eric, I'm surprised it wasn't like Ali Nasser or somebody who, a name like that, because of what Elie Wiesel, how hypocritical he is, to turn a blind eye to the suffering of the people in Palestine at the hands of the Israelis. While talking about peace and Jewish suffering and protection of the Jewish people and the Jews' right to Israel and the uniqueness of Jewish suffering. Or anybody else, an Armenian or someone from Rwanda or Zimbabwe or even Syria or Iraq, because what does he do? He says, we've got to stop genocide. But then as soon as somebody says, hey, this here is a genocide, he will get in their face, no, it's the uniqueness of the Holocaust. You can't compare it to the Holocaust. You can't call anybody a Nazi. You can't say they're like Hitler. You can't say that, they're acting like the fascists or like the Nazis in killing these people. Even though there have been multiple genocides since World War II. So Elie Wiesel, oh, what a great guy. Not many Palestinians think so, and even other Jews. David Cole, Norman Finkelstein don't think so. He is, because of his supposed events in his life when he was a child, he has made a ton of money and has power and acts as if he's the Pope of the secular left, while he cheers on the jackboots that crush the Palestinians.